Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Today we're going to walk you through building this metal and wood coffee table. The base is constructed from steel angle, making this an easy, budget-friendly build. I will also have a link for build plans along with all the tools I used for this build down in the description.
Alright, let's get this thing rolling. So you're gonna need a welder for this build. You can do this with pretty much any welder. This is pretty basic welding. I have a Hobart Handler 190. I'll put a picture of it up here. I got it used for $700, I believe, with the tank, the cart, all that. But if you only have a stick welder, even that would do this just fine. You're gonna need a way to cut the metal. You could probably get a local metal shop to do it for you if you buy the metal there, or they might do it for a small fee, but that is an option. I personally use an Evolution cold cut saw. It was one of the cheaper models on the market. I'll put a picture of it up here. Ordered that on Amazon. I think it's a great entry-level saw. For me, it does fine. I don't use it daily. It's more of a hobby kind of thing. But at minimum, you're gonna need an angle grinder. I have this Ryobi angle grinder here. I think this was $30. And to attach to the angle grinder, you're gonna need flat discs, 40 grit, 80 grit, anything like that. I would buy a pack because you burn through these pretty quick, but they do work well. And if you're going this route to cut the metal, you're gonna need any sort of cutting disc. I think this is just a cheap one from Menards. You can get them pretty much anywhere.
So to start out, you're gonna need 4 pieces of 1.5" angle at 19 inches, 4 pieces at 1x1 angle at 22 3/4, and then 4 long pieces at 40 3/4, 1x1 angle. So we're going to start out with a low grit flap disc and kind of just remove all the gunk off of here, along with adding a little bevel where we're going to put welds to ensure a nice strong weld. We're going to start out by welding 2 of these rectangles. They will consist of 1x1 steel angle, welding your short pieces to your long pieces. Now I don't have the best welding table. This is something I picked up cheap on Craigslist, but simply being able to clamp these pieces of angle to the surface is a huge help. It really helps keep everything straight and even. I like these Irwin swivel pad clamps. I think they work great. They're relatively cheap and affordable. And here I'm kind of just working my way around, just tacking everything to hold everything in place before I start actually welding everything together. Once I have it all tacked together, I added a clamp to each side and then ran welds on the inside of each corner. So you're going to need 2 of these. So repeat all these steps again and make one that is identical to this one. Make sure you take your time and let everything cool down between welds.
And then once we get 2 of these together, these will get welded on the outsides. So I have this clamp to the table to help keep everything flat and even. Check square as much as you can. If you don't have a lot of clamps, just really take your time, because when the metal heats up and cools down, it can twist and warp and do all kinds of crazy things. So it's important to leave this clamp to the table for at least a few minutes for your welds to cool before you move on. So now you want to make sure both of your pieces are pretty dang close to exactly the same. And mine are perfect. Again, if this is your first metal project and they're off a little bit, you'll never know.
Now that both rectangles are welded and cooled down, run a weld on the top of each joint to add a little extra strength, but don't worry about the outside of the miter, since this won't be visible and rounded later. Take a lower grit flap disc and remove the top weld, getting it as flush as you can, along with rounding these corners and checking how well it fits inside your legs. And just keep moving a little bit until you get that nice snug fit. Do this on all 4 corners. So I went ahead and added this little plate on the bottom so I can add self-leveling feet later. I just ran 2 welds in and it's just a little scrap cutoff. This is optional, but it does add a nice touch. So let's do a quick recap. We started out by cutting all of our pieces to the correct lengths, and then we welded them into 2 rectangles. And we're about to add the legs to one of the rectangles. And this is what your finished piece will end up looking like once it's all welded together. Measure, 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 measure. Just keep measuring. Make sure everything stays straight and square. And here, we just had these vice gripped on with these little clamps, and we're just gonna tack everything to get everything roughly where we need it, and then lock it all in place later. Work smarter, not harder. These cheap little magnets were not doing their job, so I ended up just quitting and using a clamp. From the bottom of the leg to the top of the lower shelf is 3 inches, so I just vice grip these on, and once everything lines up, I'm just going to tack these in place as well. Now that everything's tacked together, I'm going to run 1 weld in on each leg. So here's a close-up of what's going on. I'm gonna run 1 weld in, and then another weld in, and do the same thing in every corner all the way around. When welding, it's always important to take note of the heat. You don't want to just weld one corner solid all at once, you want to jump around alternating welds. If you push too much heat into one corner, you'll end up burning through or throwing the entire area out of whack. So just take your time, weld one side, hop around to the other side, do a weld, and repeat. Look at this guy.
What are you doing? Having fun, man?
After letting the piece cool down a little bit, I took an 80 grit flat disc and kind of just went around, cleaned everything up, rounded the corners, removed any burn throughs, and just made it look nice and clean.
You stuck? Get down from there. What are you doing? Do you need help? Come on, I'll catch you. Come on. Come here. Let's drill some holes in this thing.
To drill the holes in the metal, I'm just using these metal and wood drill bits. You can get these pretty much anywhere. I'll also put a link down below. But I'm going to start out with a 16th bit, 3/16th bit, and then work my way up to a 1/4 inch bit. It's way easier to step up in the bit sizes than just going straight for the 1/4 inch bit. You can see the diagram to the right where I drilled all the holes. I didn't actually measure where these holes went, it's just more so to space out the pressure when holding the top down. And you want the holes big enough to where the screw has room to wiggle to allow wood movement through the seasons. And I'm doing the same thing here to add the self-leveling feet. I'm going with a nut rivet approach and using this tool I got on Amazon. Simple little tool, makes this quick and easy. I'll add a link down below. So here's a quick look at my welds now that we're in better lighting. Welding is quite a hard skill to learn and takes a ton of practice. I still have a lot to learn myself, but if you guys would like more welding videos, please let me know down below. I would love to share more. Here's an up close look at the nut rivet. It just compresses on there, and then for this plate, I just ran 2 welds in, and it's pretty simple.
The base is essentially done. I'm gonna go ahead and paint this thing black, and I'm gonna start out by doing 2 coats of acetone to make sure we get all the gunk and grime off of this so we get a nice solid bond with the paint. Some people may like the raw look of the metal, and if you're gonna go with that route, I would clean it and just add 2 coats of clear over it so it doesn't rust. But we're gonna go with black, so I'm gonna start out with 2 coats of self-etching primer, 2 coats of satin black, and then 2 coats of satin clear.
So we're not going to go very in-depth on how we did the top and the bottom shelf. There's a ton of good videos on YouTube about how to do glue-ups, so we'll save that for another video. We made our top and lower shelf out of white ash. This is 4/4 white ash, and we just ran it through the machines to get everything nice and even, and then simply just glued them all together. If you're liking our content, please go down below and hit that subscribe and like button. It really helps us out, and there will be plans available for this build. Just a quick glue up tip, I like to let my glue cure for about 45 minutes and it gets kind of gummy and then it scrapes off really nicely versus smearing it around with a wet rag. White ash is quite a dense, durable hardwood, so we just sanded this to 150 and that was plenty for this project since we'll be putting a top coat over it, making it nice and smooth. We went ahead and stained this white ash dark walnut with this varathane stain. You have ultimate freedom here. You can use a piece of plywood, 2x4s, whatever you want. This part is completely up to you. Then use my Fuji spray system to apply 3 coats of General Finishes High Performance Poly. And we are on the final stretch. This thing is done and time to put together. So I just use these little panhead screws that came with these Z-clips. I'll attach a link down below to panhead screws without the Z-clips, and you just simply screw them in. I suggest you pre-drill the hole and then just snug them up with a drill. And that is it, guys. We appreciate you guys checking out our channel. It means a lot to us. If you guys end up making this build, please send us pictures. We'd love to see it. And make sure you head over to Instagram and give us a follow there. We post daily along with stories and feed posts. That's kind of where we hang out the most, and we're just branching into the YouTube now. So thanks for checking out our video, guys, and hope you guys all have a wonderful day.